Good morning, writers. I'm excited because today you're actually going to start to draft your final realistic fiction story, the one I'm going to give a grade to. So I can't wait to see how much you've learned. I already know you've learned a lot, so I want to see the final results of it. So you've begun to think about all of the parts of your story, and yesterday you told your story across your fingers in order, but just with one sentence for each part. So today what you're going to do is begin to write the beginning of your story, but of course this time with much more detail and with a storytelling voice to it. So here's some things that I want you to keep in mind as you're writing the beginning of your story. Think about your lead. You remember your lead is that first sentence, and the first sentence is really what gets the reader's attention. So we want to make it fun and interesting. And usually we start with either dialogue, so someone speaking. You might start with a small action, not a big one like somebody went somewhere, but a small one like somebody picked something up or opened a window or some small action that has something to do with what happens later. Um, or you can start with the setting. That one is the one I like least because a lot of the time we just wind up writing one day. When you start with a setting, it should be a setting that's very important to the story, and you should be describing it instead of just telling it, all right, in fun and exciting ways. All right, so you're going to think about your lead. That's small action, dialogue, or important setting that's being described, that's being shown. The next thing I want you to keep in mind is that you're going to start right before the problem. You don't have to start with the character waking up in the morning. That winds up really not being terribly interesting, and it wastes a lot of space on things that aren't connected to the problem. So think about where your character is when the problem starts and start right before that. So you're going to think, where and when is my character? So, and then I want you to make sure that when you're telling the beginning of your story, you use action, talk, and thinking more than telling the reader what's happening. So it has to be a storytelling voice to really interest your reader. Show your reader what's happening. Don't tell them. Just set the scene so that they can figure out what's happening. Show what the setting is. Don't tell it. So you don't have to say, Jose was at school. You can say, Jose took his notebook out of his desk. His teacher said blah, blah, blah. Well, the reader figures out then that he's at school without you saying it. So you want to show, not tell, things like that. And show what's happening leading up to the problem. What's going on right before the problem. And remember to think about what your character is like, because that's going to help you add some juicy detail. So lots of nice details, but today you're just writing the beginning, the lead, and what happens right before the problem, keeping in mind that you want to have lots of detail and show your reader instead of tell. If you have any questions, just make a comment here or on the first page, or you can send me a private message, and I'll help you with any questions you have. I'm excited to read these, and I'll see you later for math. Bye-bye.